All right, so we are back, and I have one question and one question only for today. Can we as a community, as individuals maybe, because no one pays attention to what I say in this community anymore, can we stop encouraging pro athletes to fight Jake Paul? It's not a good look. It's not going to go well for them, and it continues happening 4 years later. You guys didn't see this. Tyreek Hill, NFL All-Pro, probably should have won the MVP at least one of the last couple of years. He is one of the best athletes on the planet, not just American football, ran track, could be in the Olympics if he wanted to. I stand by that. But he's not a boxer, and he's continuing to call out Jake Paul over and over this last week. So we have to take a look, and I have to tell you guys once again why this is a terrible idea and why Jake will knock him and every other athlete that hasn't trained any boxing out cold. And by the way, speaking of all this Jake Paul fight talk, not with Tyreek Hill. He's actually fighting this Saturday. You guys should know this. It's fight week. El Gallo de Dorado, which I'm pretty sure is either Golden Rooster or Fighting Rooster of Dorado. He's taking on Ryan Borland in the co-main event live in San Juan, Puerto Rico. But not to be outdone, the main event, we have Amanda the Real Deal Serrano fighting in her home country. Javon Walton on the card live on DAZN. Make sure you guys check that out. I'll be there this Saturday for all of those fights. But outside of those fights, today we're here to talk about the delusion that goes on in professional sports outside of combat sports and the inability for athletes to differentiate a tough man sport from being an actual fighter. Athletes across the world, if you don't box, stop calling out Jake Paul. Why? I shouldn't have to explain. He boxes, you don't. That should be the end of the video. Simple. But let's get into more detail because this trend continues to go on 4 years after Jake Paul left Nate Robinson's head skidding on the canvas. It's like some people just don't ever learn. And I don't understand it, so class is in session once again. The breakdown, let's go. But before we do, guys, today's video is sponsored by our friends over at Manscaped. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know I'm a massive fan of Manscaped, and finally, they've launched a beard trim. And while I'm taking care of my hair around my derriere, actually in the front, never mind, I don't have as much hair upstairs, but Manscaped's got you covered either way because they finally launched a beard trimmer. Introducing the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Because let's be honest, what's the benefit of trimming your balls when your facial hair is not apropos? But with the Beard Hedger Pro, you get to give it a go with 7,200 RPMs of power and titanium-coated T-blade that can slice through the thickest of your beard hair with one stroke. That's usually all I'm good for anyway. And whether you prefer that 5 o'clock shadow, lion's mane, or clean shaven, you can choose from 20 different hair lengths. Take advantage of all of that when you use code TWC at manscaped.com to get 20% off and free shipping. Once again, code TWC at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. For, like I said, that Beard Hedger Pro Kit, which includes the Beard Hedger and includes your beard shampoo, your conditioner, your oil, your balm, your travel case, and a free gift as well. So once again, use code TWC at manscaped.com. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back into the breakdown. All right, so here is Tyreek Hill talking to Bob Menery, who apparently has decided he's going to start his own podcast after being dropped by the Nelk Boys and literally named it Fully Tilted, which is a Wish, Walmart, discount, double-check version of the Nelk podcast because apparently he's not on there anymore. And he's trying to build this thing up. It's like the frat boys all grown up version of Full Tilt. It's so stupid. But anyway, he's got Tyreek Hill on his show. And somehow they got on the conversation of Tyreek Hill fighting, and this is what he had to say.
You got to flex for a minute and say, stand your ground, and then exit.
I mean, just take it to the cage, bro. And that's why I want to meet Dana White. I want to get in the cage. It's either I want to get in the cage or I want to box.
Okay, so we can do that. We can introduce you to Dana tonight.
Okay, so Tyreek right off rip says, I want to get in the cage or I want to box. Now, this isn't even specifically geared toward Jake Paul, but I'm going to say this before he even gets into that delusion. Because one, I'm a massive fan of Tyreek Hill. And I say all of this with all of the due respect, but Tyreek Hill has no business in a cage or a boxing ring with zero training. You don't just jump into something like that because you're going to get hurt bad. And I don't even know what the point of this would be, other than for him to just do something new. He may be bored in the offseason, wants to flex his athletic ability, and this is a real thing in the NFL and other sports where guys tend to be a little bit delusional about their ability to protect themselves or to fight. because they play a sport like football or basketball or rugby or whatever else, name the sport. But if you haven't trained to actually fight, you're not going to be able to fight other individuals that have trained. It's very simple. Like, it doesn't translate just because you played football to boxing. You have to develop those skills independently. And yes, your athletic ability can help, but just being athletic is fuck all when we're talking about actually training boxing and MMA. Like I said, I don't know why Tyreek wants to do this. It's not for a bag, or at least it's not for a bag that he couldn't already get in the NFL. He's one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL right now. He can't be doing this for just a bag. This has got to be some pride and ego, I guess, or just potentially wanting to try something different. But again, you need to train these things. It's not something you just hop into, and especially don't call Dana White to fight in MMA unless it's against another athlete that's never trained. Then it makes sense. Outside of that, it makes no sense.
And we can talk about a fight, but here's the deal. I set things up. That's what I do. So who are we fighting? We need to come in strong with a card on who we're fighting.
I don't know. I think my first fight need to be like Jake Paul or something like that.
Really?
This is what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, here's the thing. I think that athletes just think of the first name that is not like, okay, I don't want to say an actual fighter in their mind. So in their mind, the next thing to go to is, who is someone I know that isn't necessarily the biggest fighter, but is a big name and is making waves by fighting right now. And for Tyreek, he's been on Jake's show, so he says Jake Paul. Again, these guys never learn. He would get knocked out fucking cold. It would not be a fight. It wouldn't be even competitive for any sort of time period. The Jake Paul that fought Nate Robinson would sleep Tyreek Hill. We are 3-4 years past that, and Jake's only gotten better. What the fuck are we doing here? Why do these athletes keep deluding themselves into thinking that they are better fighters than they are and want to do this? This is the same thing I said about Wayne Rooney and KSI. There's no world in which Wayne Rooney walks in there and starts as KSI. It doesn't happen. Just because years ago, and to a degree now, these guys are on YouTube, or just because these athletes are the highest of high-level athletes without any combat sports training, they are not in any way, shape, or form equipped to go and fight these guys. But it's the perfect pocket that Jake and KSI and these other guys have gotten themselves into, where they are the unassuming influencer that's on Disney and does the YouTube, so they can't be tough. They can't actually hit. They can't actually fight. There's no way. Yes, they can. And Tyreek, all respect, you'll get fucked up.
Yeah, bro.
You could. I don't know. He might. He's getting. Is he as tough as he looks?
I don't think so, bro.
Can you have hands?
Yes, bro. I grew up boxing.
Really?
No, you didn't. When someone says that, I wish Bob Menery had the stone. Hold on, let me play this.
Yes, bro.
You do it in your spare time?
No, I don't do it no more.
Why not?
I don't do it no more, bro.
Enough head trauma with the NFL shit?
Bro, are you trying to say I got CTE, bro?
This is what I'm talking about. I wish Bob Menery had the stones there to go, oh, really? You did it growing up? Like, elaborate on that. What did you do growing up? Because when guys say I boxed growing up, don't give you any context as to what the boxing was. Like, for me, for example, yeah, I sparred and trained in Muay Thai gyms, like right here locally in Orange County. Did I go and have a fight? No, I haven't. But I can tell you the gym names like Team Oyama, American Gym, or MMT down here in Laguna Niguel. Like, there's a little bit of substance behind what it is that I'm saying if I've told you I've trained it before. But when Tyreek Hill says, yeah, man, I grew up boxing, what he actually means is that he grew up having, I assume, some street fights, or boxing as in putting on gloves and sparring around with his friends, or hitting mitts in his spare time. But in no way, shape, or form did Tyreek Hill grow up boxing in a gym, strict, training this sport, sparring, fighting in smokers, or anything else that would prepare him for a fight with Jake Paul. It's not true. Go back and hear him say that. I'm sorry.
I don't know. He's getting. Is he as tough as he looks?
I don't think so, bro.
Can you have hands?
Yes, bro. I grew up boxing.
It's very simple. One guy's trained this, fought this, years, consistency, all that. One guy hasn't. And so there's where you think the end of this would be, right? That's where you would think it's ended. Like, okay, cool. Tyreek said some wild shit. Definitely not in any way, shape, or form possible. And honestly, he probably really doesn't believe that. You'd like to think that he doesn't really believe. Like, okay, yeah, I said it on the podcast, whatever. But no, he really does believe that, because this is what came out on Twitter today. Jake said, all these guys yap. Over the last week, there's been a lot of people saying Jake's name, or Jake saying their name, and we're going to get to one of the guys here in a second. But Jake said, all these guys yap. Tyreek, you would get mauled in a ring by me. Lion kills a cheetah every time in a small space. Nowhere to run. Come on, brother. Tyreek's nickname, Cheetah. Then this guy, Niraj, brave for coming to the PR all the way from India, but you're too small, brother. One hand is all I need. Okay. Then he said, Tommy, you've been running for a year now. I'm ready anytime. Offered you 8 figures. You and daddy think it's worth more. Okay, bring me the money. We're going to address all these, but let's first get to Tyreek Hill. You see that Jake is you know, taking little pot shots here and there. And for the record, no, Jake should not fight Tyreek Hill in any way, shape, or form. If they want to spar and Jake gives him a little bit of a dose of reality, okay. But let's make sure it's not a sanctioned fight. We don't need to see that. But Tyreek Hill said, your mouth gonna get you in trouble. No, it won't. It won't. Which to me, again, leads back to this delusion of professional athletes that play tough guy sports like football is. Listen, football is a collision sport. It's a tough man sport. It's not easy to play. It's very physical. It's hard. And then rugby on the other side of the pond, another one. You got to be a tough dude to play it. Toughness and athleticism are not the biggest factors in a sport like boxing that are going to get you through. And again, football toughness is not boxing toughness. You are not getting punched in your shit for 3 minutes straight with a minimal break in between over and over and over and over. The sports are completely different. So again, Tyreek is just deluded. I don't want to see. They're in different lanes. Tyreek Hill's dominating the NFL. Stay there. Do that. But don't fool yourself and kid yourself into thinking that you're going to come over just because Jake didn't do boxing as a kid, but he has for the last 4 to 5 years because he's this influencer YouTuber guy that you're going to just wash him or that his mouth's going to get him in trouble. But then it's not just Tyreek. There is apparently an Indian boxer named Niraj Goyat. He fought at 147 pounds. He was the WBC Asia Honorary Boxer of the Year in 2017. So yeah, the guy's got some great accomplishments. He's 18-4. Okay, 8 wins by knockout. All good stuff. All cool. And again, you're talking about a welterweight walking around. But anyway, he has been calling Jake out for a while, and he decided to show up to Puerto Rico today during Jake's fight week in a 100% not at all staged interaction between the two. And let's see what happens here.
Wait, Jake Paul. I'm the man of my word.
Come to daddy.
I'm here.
Come to daddy.
I'm in your country.
Look at Amanda. I love it. Amanda's on go mode. She's ready to go, baby.
I'm here in your gym,
You
man.
came to see me.
He's
You don't wanna
pumped.
Fight, though.
By the way, this is an unfortunate set of events for Niraj, but he happens to park
I'm the man of my
his
word.
car
Daddy.
I'm
right in the little cock parking spot. Don't know if he meant that, but he pulled right into the little cock parking spot. That's 1-0 Jake. I'm sorry.
here.
Come to
I'm
daddy.
in your country.
Come
I'm
to
in your
daddy.
town. I'm here in your gym.
He's
man.
pumped.
See me. You don't want to fight, though.
Hey, abuse.
You don't want to
He's like trying to slap his hand.
see me. You don't want to fight, though.
Hey, abuse.
You don't
Now
want to
abuse.
fight, bro.
You abusing your
You
translate
don't want to fight,
application?
buddy. What?
What is happening? What is he actually saying? Jake's got his El Gallo de Dorado shirt on, bro. Come on now. You don't f with a golden rooster. Is it the fighting rooster? Whatever, dude. You don't fight. You don't f with him. What is he saying to him?
Now
Fight,
abuse.
bro.
You abusing your
You
translate
don't want to fight,
application?
buddy. What?
You using translate application, right? And you abusing in Indian language? Now abuse.
Listen,
Ab de gali.
brother.
What is he saying? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I can't understand him.
Listen, brother. You can't handle a little shit talk. Your
Blah,
feelings
blah,
are
blah.
hurt.
I don't understand.
Your
I
feelings
don't
are hurt.
understand.
Did I
No.
hurt your feelings?
No, you hurt. Let's check.
Did I hurt your
He
feelings?
said test it.
It feels a little.
Hey, no, I did not.
What is going on right now? This man's feeling breast? That's what we're doing? We're out here feeling breast?
Hey, no, it's not little. It's a
Listen,
jigra.
brother. Fuck.
He said there's not even a little jiggle. Oh my, it's unintentionally funny. Like, I'm not laughing because they're meaning to be funny. I'm laughing because this is ridiculously unintentionally funny. And again, the little cock parking spot, dude. This is obviously an interaction that Jake and this guy have set up. I don't know if they set up the actual back and forth, like what they were gonna say, but they set up a time to meet. And and we got some crazy shit going on. Jake's feeling his man chesticles. And this guy's saying there's no jiggle with it.
It feels a little.
Hey, no,
It
it's
feels
not
a
little.
little
It's a
hard.
jigra.
Listen, brother. Fuck
It's
you
called-
3 times,
it's called
brother.
punjad paad le mera.
What was this? What's this part?
It's called
brother.
punjad paad le mera.
You cannot be doing that in front of the real deal. None of this can ever go down. Never, dude. Never, never. You can't be doing none of that.
Paad le.
Punja parlay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said Punjab parlay. Jake's trying to recruit him better now, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Punjab
Listen to
parlay.
me, brother.
I respect you. I respect you. Don't.
Okay, now.
I respect you for showing up man to man.
I'm also
But you don't want to fight.
I never
But you don't want to fight.
I never
You don't want to fight.
I never
Whoa, a little slap there at the end.
You don't want to fight.
These guys, Niraj, no offense to the guy, I don't understand one what the goal is here. Like, yes, getting a fight with Jake, but that's just it's not gonna happen. It doesn't look like. I mean, you're 7 weight classes apart. You haven't fought in 7 years. I don't know what his skill level is. He's got some accolades. That's great. But what Jake's trying to do, which is either become a world champion and make big fights, Niraj doesn't check either of those boxes. At least not for anybody that I know. I'm sure in India he's a massive name, but outside of that, I don't know that anybody. I've never heard of this guy. No offense to him. I'm just saying. So again, we run into this challenging Jake thing that's just, it's not a great idea for what it is that people are trying to do. Niraj, whatever, like, okay, fair play. But Tyreek Hill, no. And then the last part of this, we talked about Tommy with the 8 figures thing. Apparently, there's been an offer made to Tommy Fury from Jake Paul and his team for an 8-figure 2-fight deal, 1 in boxing, 1 in MMA. Now, granted, I don't know why Tommy would sign to fight MMA. He would get absolutely mauled in that fight. And I don't know if that's conditional for the 8 fight figures. Like, if it's only 8 figures if he does MMA as well, then I can understand him being like, well, maybe not do that. But I also understand that they want that Tommy rematch. And I know that the Furies are going to drive a hard bargain because not only did Tommy beat Jake, but he also beat KSI. So that number is just going to keep going up. Every time he fights in this crossover space, it's going to keep doing that. So I think 8 figures is a wild number to offer Tommy. I think it's also a wild number for Tommy to turn down. But again, I don't know what the contracts and conditions and all that stuff look like. Regardless, I want to see Jake and Tommy fight. Again, I thought Jake should take some time and get some more experience under his belt before fighting Tommy again. He'd done that with an 8 fight. Andre August, nothing really there we could see. We'll see what happens in the Ryan Borland fight. I still think I would want to see Jake take a couple more fights. And then by the time December rolls around, or maybe January next year, I would want to see Jake fight Tommy again. Because you're going to have to get back to that level where you're fighting guys like Tommy, who is young and has a win over Jake, and has some boxing ability that, yes, you can say these other guys that Jake's fought have shown as well, but Tommy has done so as a younger guy, still fresh in the scene, still big name, and a guy that, again, previously beat Jake. It's the name value of the Fury name. It's the obvious revenge story, all that stuff I want to see happen again, but it seems like negotiations are going to take a while. This happened the first time as well, so we'll see. But the moral of the story of this video, it kind of spiraled a little bit, but I'm actually here for it because that Niraj shit was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I don't understand pro athletes calling out Jake Paul. It's always, and I mean always, going to end the same way. If you have no boxing experience other than, yeah, I grew up boxing, without any real context as to what that means, and we all really know what it means, is that you put on gloves and sparred your boys in the back of the high school gym, or you've been in a couple of street scraps, it's going to end with you meeting canvas with your face. And again, I say this with all respect to Tyreek Hill, one of the greatest athletes on the planet. You are top 1% of 1%. You can do pretty much any sport that requires athletic ability and muscle memory, with some training, of course, but the least likely to be successful in quickly for someone like Tyreek Hill is combat sport. And it just so happens that's what he wants to do against a guy in Jake who is much better. Jake will knock him out cold. It will be Nate Robinson 2.0. It will shame the NFL community. Please don't do this to, 1, my favorite sport, and 2, some of my favorite athletes. Jake will hurt you badly. Don't do it. Outside of that, just everybody that's not KSI or a professional in MMA or boxing or anything like that, just stop calling Jake out. We've seen this story before. It didn't end well. It won't end well continuously, but maybe you guys disagree. Maybe I'm the crazy one here. Let me know in the comments down below. What happens if Tyreek Hill actually does decide to even just spar Jake Paul? Because again, I don't want to see that as an actual fight. Jake's far past that point. And also, do you guys want to see part 2 of the Niraj and Jake Paul face-off? Because genuinely, I do. And what happens with this Tommy Fury fight? Are they going to actually get this done? Do you think Jake's ready for it right now? Or are we going to see that toward the end of the year, maybe the start of 2025? I don't have those answers, but it is Jake Paul fight week this week in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Amanda Serrano headlining the card, Jake in the co-main, Javon Walton on the card as well. And you can catch it all live on DAZN this Saturday. I'll be there for all the answers we don't have now. I guess we'll find out.